You're probably wondering why I came to China. Well, I came to China because I want to expand my experiences, which I will say this many times throughout this video. I came to China because I wanted to learn a new culture, even though technically I kind of know a little bit about Chinese culture before I came to China. And no, not through US media or TV. I mean, I read books, you know, I educate myself, what people think what education is to themselves. But for me, like, coming to China is not like, I didn't come to China to like take a break of my life and relax and like party my life away and just wander aimlessly through different schools. I came to China because I want to experience something new that would expand not just my creativity as an artist, but to expand my open-mindedness to learning new cultures. Even though China is safe throughout, there's no crime in China. Well, there is crime in China, but it's not like towards foreigners, and it's not gonna be shooting like in America where we like shooting everywhere. I don't know, it's like an open range in America basically. There's no Donald Trump, I'm just joking. But anyway, there is no danger for us foreigners in China. I mean, there are some situations you can get into in China that can be quite dangerous, and there's a lot of scams that can happen. Fortunately for me, I haven't gotten into those situations because I'm smart in that area and I know better not to do those kind of things. And I kind of stay away from like dealing with people who could get you in sort of trouble. And a lot of people who've been in China have been in those type of situations. For the most part, police don't really hassle you in China as well compared to America. One thing I like about China is this convenience. Like compared to the United States where you have to drive everywhere. Like you have to drive to go to the gas station, you have to drive to go to the movies, you have to drive to rob a bank. I'm just joking, not rob a bank. But anyway, the convenience of living in China is amazing. Like, you can take the bus anywhere, the taxis are readily available. Though some taxis in different cities I've been to in China can be quite challenging. I know when I went to Nanjing, it was very hard for me to find a taxi. And Shanghai can be quite of a hassle as well. But living in Wenzhou, I realized that like the convenience of going anywhere and the convenience of like just, you know, going to the grocery store or going to even work, it's quite easy compared to the States where the transportation can be quite challenging. Where I live in North Carolina, buses are like rarely seen unless you live in a city area, which most people do, and even then, like getting a bus is, you know, quite challenging. You know, in the United States, we're more of a car culture, and it's a shame because I even believe that, you know, United States infrastructure and transportation kind of needs a little overhaul, because I feel like most places, especially around where I live, it can be quite convenient to just have buses to pick people up and take them everywhere. Now, majority of people who live in China speak Mandarin, but of course another language that's also spoken as well is Cantonese or Guangtonghua. Those are the two kind of the main languages spoken in China. But of course, in the area or city or province that you live, they also have their own dialects. Now I live in Wenzhou, and the dialect that's spoken is called Wenzhouhua, which I cannot speak. I only know like one word of that dialect. And so even though Mandarin is like the predominant language, people still speak their local dialect, because many centuries ago, before Mandarin in the modern era became like the predominant language, the unifying language of China. Even to this day, most dialects are still spoken. For example, like Wenzhou, where I'm from, during World War II, Wenzhouhua language was used in order to keep top secret information from the Japanese. And so the Japanese were trying to decipher and decode Wenzhouhua language, but they couldn't because it's not like Mandarin. Hence why Wenzhou is probably like, in this province, is so special to the bigwigs in China. because they kind of saved their butts during the war. Another thing is also is that learning the Chinese language can be quite difficult and challenging. I'm not gonna speak Chinese here because I can't speak. I can speak Chinese, but I'm not good at it. Maybe I'll do that for another video. But this purpose of this video is to talk about my living experiences in China as an artist, as a teacher, as well. Another thing is that the jobs that you get living in China. Most people think that, oh, you know, you're just everyone who comes to China is just an English teacher. Not true. There are many professions that you can get in China that you don't have to be an English teacher. Though English teaching is the predominant job that you get first starting out in China. My personal opinion is there's nothing wrong with teaching English in China. It depends on the school and the situation you're in when teaching English. And teaching English in China has been a wonderful experience, still is a wonderful experience for me. Because you get to learn about other kids from different cultures. You get to learn language as well. Because there's always a culture exchange between students and you. I recommend that, like, do your research before if you want to come to China and teach English. There's dozens and dozens and dozens and schools, good schools, that you could come to and learn and to teach. How long would you want to teach is up to you. You know, most people want to stay a year. Some people want to stay a couple months. Most people think that, oh, I'm teaching English, that I'm stuck here forever and like I can't do nothing else. But like, I have traveled to many places. I have, you know, experienced, and I also have done awesome things while I'm teaching English in China. For me, I think just because you have a job doesn't mean you can't do anything with your life. You know, you have to maneuver around it. You have to figure out your way. Most people don't, and they always get this mindset that oh, I'm stuck here, I can't do nothing. And for me, like, coming to China is just like anything else in life. You just gotta come with a positive attitude. You have to come with a motivated attitude, and you have to figure out, like, you have to just use your skills and talents in the way that you would back home. You know, unless you just come to China and just like party your life away, which there's nothing wrong with that. The last thing I would say is that teaching English in China is not a bad thing. It's not the end of the world. It's not like, oh my gosh, I'm teaching English, I'm stuck here for the rest of my life. You can do it for the rest of your life and be happy. I know a lot of people are. But you can always move on to bigger and better things. Or you can use the situation you have already and create things around it. Another thing on my thoughts and experiences living in China is the food. Whether it be the food quality, food proportions, just Chinese food in general. Now, Chinese food is way different than food in America. Actually, Chinese food is way different than any other food outside of China. It's hilarious because people in America come to say, so like, you get to eat Chinese food every day? How, like, Chinese food is, you know, either not good for you or bad for you in America. But I tell people that, like, Chinese food is way different in America than China. The quality could be quite questionable sometimes, but sometimes it can be really amazing. Personally, I think Chinese food is pretty good. I like it. I know that's probably like the most like common response is Chinese food is great. It's amazing. You should come and eat it, man. It's great, man. You know, they show this amazing food, but there are some food in China that I'm like, nope, I'm not gonna eat that. You know, you have like all these like duck tongue and cow stomach and I don't know, sheep intestine, things like that. Like, food in China can be kind of, you can get like amazing quality food, and then you go like extreme end of like, just no, I would not eat that. But overall, Chinese food is actually great. I wouldn't say healthy sometimes. There's some food choices in China that's not healthy. But overall, like, the quality and the food and the type of food you get in China is way different than America. So if you're gonna travel into China, like, you kind of have to, like, in the back of your head, you have to realize that China is not like what you think in the movies, what you think in books, what you think on TV. You just have to come and see it for yourself. Though the one thing I would say, recommend, is learn a little bit of Chinese, learn a little bit about Chinese etiquette, and learn a little bit about your city and your surroundings. Another thing about living in China is the amount of places and tourist attractions and the amount of venturing you can do in China. China is so massive, it's so big that, you know, it's hard not to like travel somewhere in a new city or a different place. Kind of bothers me when you meet foreigners, especially Shanghai. Say, hey man, like, have you been anywhere? Oh no, I just been in Shanghai only, but never really escaped it. Okay, Beijing doesn't count, like Shanghai doesn't count, and like first tier cities doesn't count. To me, in my opinion, I think if you live in China as a foreigner and you're like here for a long time, it's always best to travel outside of the city that you're in. Like if you don't travel out, you don't really get to see the real culture of China. You know, there is a real China. China's not just urbanization. It's not tall skyscrapers and you know, and big buildings and lots of taxis and buses and things. The thing about China as well is that you can pay everything with your phone. I mean, I can pay my light bill, I can pay my phone bill, I can pay off my bosses. I'm just joking. I can pay off anything. I can pay with anything with my phone. I mean, compared to the United States, again, comparing to China to the United States, like for me paying a phone bill, I have to like literally like mail in a bill sometimes. It's just pointless. Or I have to pay like this or that, I have to sign a check or mail. I mean, of course, it's getting a little better in the States. Now the States, you can pay with your phone, but not entirely compared to China. You know, China's now becoming a cashless society. It's a good thing and a bad thing in my opinion. Pro with that is that you don't have to carry cash and you can just do anything with your phone. The con is you have a phone. Like, what if you lose your phone? What if your phone dies? What if you take a taxi and a taxi driver doesn't have a phone? Because people think, oh, everybody in China has phones. But I've been to one taxi before, twice, and they had like an old Nokia phone in like mail. I don't have Alipay on this phone, so I had to go to a bank to get cash out just to get it. And so that there's a reminder too, because I forget easily. I forgot so easily. Now I do it, which is something, a habit I already had, but I forgot. Just carry cash on you anyway. Always carry cash. Never like leave home without it. I know that phones are like the easiest thing to do, but if your phone breaks or somebody steals your phone, not to do that in China, or you lose your phone, or you throw your phone under the bus because it's like the last version of iPhone like 5 and you want the X, I trust. So you want to experience new things and you want to travel to exotic places, learn a new language, or work somewhere different compared to your home country. Try China. Now, before you do come to China, make sure you do enough research and do enough digging through to make sure that this is the place you want to come. Because not everybody is going to like or love China. I've met foreigners who came and left, and they came and like, oh, this is amazing. Then something happened to them where they just freaked out and left. And then I met foreigners who hated it, had pretty bad experiences, but they stuck to it, and now they appreciate what the culture is like. So people have opposite experiences and opposite stories of what they have witnessed living in China. For me, China has changed me in the last 3 years simply because of all the things I spoke to you guys about. And like, I feel like, and as an artist and as a person who's creating and like using my artistic talent in China, I think Asia and just Asia in general, I think it's a sweet spot that not many people know about. Of course, not everybody does, but because I know a lot of people on my Facebook, and they like, oh, now come to China. Like, oh, I'm in China now. Oh, you come to China now because of me. No, not really. But yeah, I mean, if you guys, you know, have any questions, if you guys want to like send me a message and say, hey, about China, this, like that, don't be afraid to. I mean, or if anything else you guys want to talk to. And like always, click like and subscribe this channel. And as always, believe in yourself.